do the best we can with that. So let me welcome everybody to tonight's Monday night wellness webinars. And tonight our topic is Inside the World of Shaklee. About once a month we do a longer session where we do an overview about Shaklee Corporation and about the Shaklee products and a little bit about Shaklee history, Shaklee philosophy, and we'd like you to know a little bit about some of the benefits that Shaklee offers, those of you now who are members, and so we'll be reviewing that. And so joining me tonight will be Hannah and Alan Sharapan, who are, going too fast there, master coordinators from the Western Pennsylvania area, and Laura Harper, who is from Rio Rancho in New Mexico, and we'll be giving you an overview about Shaklee and its history and its philosophy. So let me get started here. Let's begin by giving you a little background about this company and about its history. Alan?
Well, we talk about Dr. Forrest Shaklee, and of course anybody in Shaklee knows about Dr. Shaklee. What a outstandingly fantastic man he was. As you can see there, developed the first multivitamin and his cleaners. I mean, just everything about the man was just fabulous. And he really set the stage for the Shaklee Corporation for the future. And then we have Roger Barnett, our current owner and CEO, the visionary, because he's going to take us to the next level as far as growth and development of the company. And for those of you that were in Nashville, you've met the new Chief Scientific Officer, Dr. Daggy. If you have not met him yet, this is an excellent opportunity for you to enroll in one of the regional conferences, either Los Angeles, Chicago, or New York, because you have the opportunity to see and hear Dr. Daggy in person. And what a fabulous guy he is. I mean, people said, geez, he even looks like Dr. Shaklee. But look at that quote. The medical profession is interested in treating disease. I'm interested in building health. That's Dr. Shaklee and Dr. Bruce Daggy. So it's just phenomenal, the hands that we are in now to take us to the next level.
Okay.
And Shaklee is the #1 natural nutrition company in the United States, something that we can all be so proud of. And you see there pictured our product lines designed to create healthier families and non-toxic homes. And when you see the White House, what's that represent? Well, how about, I have to tell you, it makes me so proud and excited to know that both the White House and the Vice President's house use Shaklee as their home care cleaning and laundry products. And Oprah, of course, how highly respected she has been over the years. Well, she's actually featured us 5 times when she had her show. She showed especially the household laundry and cleaning products, which are among her favorite things. So when she had a favorite things show, everybody got this large basket of Shaklee products. And she uses them in her studios and her homes. So that's another wonderful thing to be able to put a feather in our cap, I think. And then there's Captain Mark Kelly, the famous astronaut, though I believe has had more trips to outer space than I think any of our other astronauts.
Yes.
Well, he not only uses the Shaklee products, but he takes them with him into outer space. So he sent this picture. I don't know if you can tell on the screen or not, but that's a 6-day supply of our vitamin strips that I'll be talking about in just a minute, floating there in the air. And so Alan always says,
Shaklee products are truly out of this world.
And they really are. And then how about the Olympians? How many of them have chosen to use Shaklee, and so successfully? The reason that we have the high medal count, and many other athletes in addition to the major athletes that we see there. In fact, even on our own organization, we have the fellow that won 4 medals at state, 4 gold medals, who used Shaklee from the time he was 9 years old and is just doing beautifully with them now in college.
I know, it's wonderful.
It really
nice
is.
history
it
of
makes
that.
You feel so good. And of course, the Shaklee philosophy is the part of Shaklee that's always been the most dear to my heart. It's a feeling of knowing that I have never had to sacrifice my values with a company that has such integrity. And the Shaklee philosophy of them always being safe, always green, always working. What can be better than that? So at Shaklee, we believe nature does hold the answers, and that's why they take such extraordinary measures to bring you the truly, I love that expression, life-enhancing products, and to guarantee the quality, safety, and effectiveness of every one of them. Now, isn't it impressive to realize that Shaklee conducts over 350 tests on every botanical ingredient to make sure that there are no harmful contaminants? And how about this? That's 240 more tests for pesticides than is even required by the U.S. Pharmacopoeia. So Shaklee goes so far beyond any industry standards. 100,000 quality tests on all of the products. And what that means to you is a company that you can trust and rely on. And I love to give this example of Shaklee's integrity. We could do a whole hour just on this portion, actually. But let's just mention this, that when a certain crop of safflower came into the company that they purchased from a certain vendor, vendors do a certain amount of testing, and that is all that's required, but Shaklee never relies on that and does their own testing. And in the process, they discovered that there were traces of lead on this crop, of this raw ingredient. So they called the vendor, and they said, no, there's no lead. And Shaklee said, oh, there definitely is. And they said, none of our other customers have complained. And Shaklee said, trust us, there's lead. We've discovered it. We need to come into your facility and discover the source. Otherwise, we cannot continue to be a customer with you. So they invited Shaklee in, and scientists, till they scoured the labs and everything, they finally discovered that the ball that was used to actually do the crushing of the safflower, the lead that weighted the ball was leaching into the crop, into these raw ingredients. So Shaklee then went a step beyond again, like Shaklee does, and developed a porcelain ball that would never leach anything into the ingredients. So again, the facility was absolutely amazed. The vendors were shocked because Shaklee found something that they couldn't find themselves and also made the solution for them. And you know something? This is the point of the integrity. We would never have known the difference because you can't taste that. It just simply was a matter of Shaklee's integrity.
Very good. So those are just a couple of examples about Always Safe, because it's such a high priority for this company. And now I want to tell you a little bit about the second aspect of Shaklee philosophy, which is Always Green. And wanted to show you just a little bit about Shaklee's history. You may not be aware, but Shaklee was one of the original environmental companies developing the very first biodegradable cleaning product, Basic H, back in 1960. Now, in 1960, the whole environmental movement was not on people's radar screen. That's when Rachel Carson was just beginning to write things like Silent Spring. And people, just weren't aware of how serious it was. But Dr. Shaklee was a very early environmentalist. He had a lot of health issues when he was a child. He was born with tuberculosis. And so, back at the turn of the century, that's when people were still really embracing folk medicine and natural remedies. And so his family was urged to move him. They lived, by the way, in an area in Iowa where they did strip mining of coal. And so they moved him to the country where the grandparents lived. And so he really owed a lot of his health to the fact that becoming a student of nature and using nature's gifts to restore his health. And so it's interesting, those things that happen to us that end up forming our values in life and our life's path. And that's what happened with him. And then in 1972, Shaklee developed the first laundry product that contained no phosphates. And Jacques Cousteau used Shaklee products on his research vessels. And some of you who are young may not be aware about Jacques Cousteau, but he was tremendously important to help people begin to appreciate and understand the oceans, and that we can't just use them as a big garbage dump, which is what was happening for years and years and years. And then fast forward to Shaklee's headquarters that you will see, award-winning headquarters. Virtually everything in that building is made either from recycled or sustainably produced materials. They've won all kinds of awards for that building and for all of their efforts in caring for the environment. They received the EPA Climate Protection Award, and then one of the really wonderful accomplishments that we're very proud of is that Shaklee became the very first company ever to be certified as climate neutral, meaning that they tracked all of their carbon dioxide emissions from manufacturing of their products to what it took to get employees to work and so on. And then they reduced it as much as they possibly could, and then they created offset projects to offset whatever they couldn't otherwise, and bringing electricity to remote villages in Africa. It's just a wonderful company, very philanthropic, all of that's done very quietly. People don't really know a lot about it. I want to mention also the Arctic Ocean exploration, because back in the 80s and early 90s, Shaklee funded research that occurred where Will Stager explored the Arctic Ocean, and the measurements that he took in those explorations were used as a benchmark of how much we've been losing our polar ice caps. And it was a very, very difficult journey to cross the polar ice cap by dog sled, and it was Shaklee products that fueled those explorers that enabled, because they went by foot, by dog sled, by dogs and dog sleds. I mean, it was amazing to see that. But that's the kind of company that Shaklee is. They were very forward thinking and invested in that. So let's also talk a little bit about the last aspect of Shaklee philosophy, which is always works. And Shaklee, as many of you may be aware, is a company grounded in science. It is behind every ingredient of every product, every formulation. Over 100 published scientific papers. I don't know if you're aware of how rare that is. There are no qualifications for vitamin companies, no restrictions on how they put their formulas together. They don't have to, that required to do any kind of clinical testing, any proof that they work, let alone to have scientific research to the caliber that it can be accepted for publication in scientific papers. Shaklee has over 100 of them. When you look at your Shaklee catalog in the back, you will see lists and lists of all these various scientific clinical studies that have been done. And I know that people don't look at those things, but I just want you to know they're there because it says a lot about the company. I think Hannah and Alan talked earlier about how many professional athletes and Olympic athletes have used Shaklee in their work, and the significance of that is that these athletes are spot tested for drugs. And I really didn't know that world very, very well. And I had the occasion to, a year ago, to sit with two Olympians over dinner, which was really interesting because I am not a sporty person. And so carrying on a conversation with these folks was kind of interesting. And they were wonderful. And they told me about the pressure that they feel that because of this spot testing that is done, that if they are taking a vitamin product, an herbal product that they were thinking was natural, and it tests with some substance that is not allowed, they are banned from their sport for at least 2 years. Well, apparently, when you're in these very competitive sports, that basically kills your sports career. And they said, but all of the athletes know that they can trust any product that Shaklee makes and know that it will be safe for them. So last thing we're going to talk about a little bit later, but there was a remarkable study that was done in 2007 called the Landmark Study that that showed how over a 20-year period of people who took Shaklee supplements, how dramatically different and better their health was than from people who just took a multivitamin or no supplement at all. And we're going to show you some of the statistics on that a little later on. But that was it was really proof of how effective these products can be. And that brings us to our guest tonight, Laura Harper, because the real proof in how Shaklee products work is really in the stories of the lives of people who use them. And so we've asked Laura to share how she got connected to Shaklee, and that was how many years ago now, Laura?
Well, it'll be 3 years in January, or the end of December, that I first started Jacob on the supplements. But Hannah talked about Oprah earlier, and I had actually watched one of those episodes and ordered that lovely cleaning kit that she talked about on her show about three years prior. But never, ever, I ordered it off her website, never even knew that Shaklee had supplements. But I've been using the cleaners for 3 years, and then almost 3 years ago is when I learned about everything else.
Excellent. Well, tell us about Jacob and his health story.
Well, Jacob, I had a relatively, normal pregnancy, and his birth was fine. But at 3 weeks old, he became really sick with just a unbelievable cough for a baby at 3 weeks old. It was just awful, and it turned out it was RSV, which is basically a cold, but for a baby that young, when they don't know how to breathe through their nose, through their mouth, they usually do a lot of breathing through their nose, so it becomes pretty scary when they're that little. And so we had to go through the whole ER visit, and he was actually in the hospital for 6 days with this RSV. They had to put him on oxygen at one point, and breathing treatments, the whole deal. So that was the first time we'd ever really, 3 weeks old. It's not like we'd had him that long, but that was the first time that anything happened. And I remember his pediatrician telling me that, because I had asked, what does this mean for him, for his future? Is he going to completely recover? And he said he will. He'll be fine. But his chances for asthma are now 50-50. And he was trying to be positive. I remember him saying, so that's 50% chance that he won't get asthma. So I remember, him saying that, and the RSV, everything passed, and we got through that. But he was just sick all the time. It seemed like, I was always having to hold him up at night for him to sleep, so that everything could drain down. And at 3 months old, we had his first eczema breakout, which at the time I didn't know was eczema, just from head to toe. Literally, I can't believe I didn't take a picture, but I didn't. It was all over his cheeks and neck and just all over his body. And that was at 3 months old. And his eczema pretty much just stuck around. It wasn't covering his whole body like it was that time, but it was everywhere all the time, behind in the backs of his legs and all over his feet. He would scratch his feet at night. 6 months old, I could see him in the video monitor, scratching his feet. And so that was always an issue. And, he was sick so often that it became pretty normal for us. It was just the routine that we had. But then when he was actually about 3 years ago this month, so he was almost 3 months away from turning 2, and his allergy symptoms just skyrocketed. And and everybody says, oh, it's that time of year, yada yada yada, but it was so bad, and he would cough so hard all night long. His nose would run all day long, but he was happy. Like he was, it wasn't like the laying on the couch kind of sickness. It was, but I could just see it in his face and his eyes. But the coughing, he did this cough all night long, which just spiraled into this. He would he wouldn't sleep well because he would be up. Every time he would cough, it would wake him up, and then he would cry because he was awake, and then it would take a while to get him back to sleep. And just this whole, it just spiraled downhill. And so I started, took him to a doctor, and I remember we took him to 3 different doctors because twice we were out of town during that, 2 to 3 month period. So I had to take him to a doctor, an out-of-town doctor. And all 3 doctors told me the same thing, that it was allergies. It's just allergies. And I just couldn't believe, I couldn't believe that they're like, his lungs are clear. It's just allergies. And I couldn't believe his lungs are clear. I wish I had a recording of how this child was coughing. So it was after a couple weeks after Thanksgiving that I took him to the doctor, which was the last time that he has seen a doctor for his allergies to date. And that doctor said, if you don't start him on allergy medicine, this is going to develop into asthma. And the first thing I thought of was a doctor when he was 3 weeks old telling me that he has a 50% chance of 50/50 chance of asthma. And I just thought, oh gosh. And I was already I didn't know about Shaklee, but I was already in that, we ate, we mostly bought organic. I was using the Shaklee cleaners for the most part, but any other cleaners I was buying were, green, although I know now they weren't as green as I thought. But, and I was kind of on my natural, on that journey to natural, doing things in a natural way. So I was trying everything I could think of holistically. I was buying stuff at Whole Foods or health food stores or online, anything I could do to help him, fight this without medicine, because I have so many nieces and nephews on my husband's side that are on allergy medicine and have been, they're always on allergy medicine every day. And whether they're 3 years old or 8 years old, they've been on allergy medicine every day. And I did not want that. I knew once we started it for him, we wouldn't be able to stop, and he would have to take that medicine forever. And my husband at the time was on allergy medicine every day. So, it was really ironic. The day that I finally caved and I filled the prescription for, I think it was Allegra. And my best friend I was talking to that day, Angie Thomas, and probably venting to her that I had to finally do this. And she was like, you should talk to my mom. She just started a Shaklee business, and she works with the lovely Barb Lagoni. She's a nutritionist. She might be able to help you. I mean, that was all she said. And I was like, I'll talk to anybody. I'll try anything. And that led to a 3-hour conversation on the phone with Barb. And it was basically, she told me his immune system needs to be built up, and here's what you do to do it. And yes, it is allergies, but really all it is his immune system not being able to fight off things. So if you focus on the immune system, then this is all going to get better. And she was so confident about it. And so I put my order in that night. I believe it was the first week of January. It was like the January 2nd that I got the box. And I had given him 1 dose of allergy medicine before this happened, and I stopped. So I didn't give him any more. And started the vitamins right away. And you see the slide here. This is what we started him on for the most part. I didn't do the protein shakes for him in the beginning, and I didn't do Mighty Sparts in the beginning. I added those later. But alfalfa, vitamin C, and Credivites right away, and the probiotic starting on that first day. And the second night after we started, he didn't cough. He slept all night without coughing one time.
Oh,
the second night. This was 48 hours on. Now I was
which means you parents got to sleep for one night.
No, I was laying there watching him, waiting for him to cough. I don't think I really slept for a few weeks after that because I was in shock. But yeah, and for all the parents out there, just the fact that he was sleeping more. I also noticed a difference within days that he was more rested, but that was a whole other issue. But I couldn't, even my skeptical husband, he couldn't, he didn't cough. It was insane. This kid had coughed every night for 2 months. every night for 2 months, at least 2 or 3 times hard enough that he would completely wake up. So, and then it was about a month, 3 to 4 weeks. It was about 2 weeks that I noticed his congestion, because he always had congestion, always. Even if his nose wasn't running, he always had that sound like he had stuff in his head. About 2 weeks or so, I noticed that congestion was much, much, much better. And I wasn't blowing his nose, but maybe like once in the morning, whereas before we'd blow his nose all day long. We actually almost had a party when he learned how to blow his nose. This kid learned how to blow his nose at 1.5 years old better than most adults. So, and that was a lovely thing for what we've been going through. But
and then the eczema also responded, didn't it?
It was about 30 days, about a month, maybe a month and a half, that his eczema, and I put 75%. It was almost gone. But for a couple months, it would still flare up when he would get hot. We were living in Memphis at the time, hot and humid, and he may still might have gotten a couple of spots behind his knees or in his creases in his arm, but for the most part, it was gone. And then within, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months, it was completely gone, and it's never come back. I mean, we have never had eczema again.
So these are the basic products for kids. Certainly the multi is a great place to begin. The Incredivites, which is the chewable multi for kids, but once kids can swallow, they can go to the actual Vital-D. They may only need one a day, but that's really helpful for your budget, because they don't have to build in the natural flavorings and that they need to with the chewable products. And then vitamin C in a chewable form, as well as a wonderful sustained release 500 milligram form, that starts building the immune system. And by the way, pretty much across the country this year, there was a lot of hot weather, and that's when that hot, humid air holds the pollutants in the air down near the surface of the earth, and that's it's really hard on children who have the smaller lungs and airways. So remember, vitamin C is really helpful for protecting against air pollution. And then the probiotics, which is this tiny little capsule the size of a pearl, but because 70% of the immune system is located in the gut, it's amazing how helpful that is to help begin strengthening the immune system again in the body. And then Mighty Smarts is the chewable form of omega-3 fatty acids. How they got fish oil to taste so good, I don't know, but it is wonderful, but so important. Been shown to significantly improve brain function. I was just reading another study today about how omega-3 fatty acids improves learning in children. It was in Britain.
Oh, yeah.
And there was another excellent study. And then alfalfa is, many of you may know if you have grown up on farms, that this is a food that is grown to make a very high quality hay. But in biblical times it was a human food. But alfalfa is very, very rich in trace minerals and other nutrients, I guess, because I'm told it has a root system that extends almost 20 feet into the soil, but it's very inexpensive. But we discovered, I think, Hannah and Ellen, for us, when our children were little, we didn't have this variety of products that we have today for kids, and so alfalfa was our product of choice. It acted like a natural antihistamine for kids, and we could crush it and stir it in orange juice, or my grandson chews it, but it's a wonderful product for parents to have. And then all the protein shakes. Getting protein in kids sometimes is tricky. They often don't like meats and protein foods, and so the protein shakes are they're healthy, they're nutritious, they're non-genetically modified, they're really great. And then the Defend and Resist, this is the time of year when you want to get that product and keep it in your kitchen cabinet or in your desk drawer, because that is a echinacea complex, and echinacea helps speed up your white blood cells when you want to start fighting a virus, or you feel like you're coming down with something. But you don't take that every day. You just keep that for when you need it, and then you take quite a bit. So, and for those of us who are grown-ups and people who can swallow. This is the core program for the immune system for us, including Nutriferum. We're going to show you that in a minute. Laura mentioned the importance of using non-toxic cleaning products. That it's really it's amazing how many parents. Last week, some of you were with us, and we were talking to Amber Robinson, whose little girl had asthma, and when she changed to the clean product, she noticed an improvement with that, along, especially laundry products. And then Vitalizer, which is the daily strip of 80 nutrients. We'll show you more about that in a moment. But then this little collection right here, these really help. Garlic, Immunity Formula I, Defend and Resist. I mentioned the vitamin C and alfalfa. Those are wonderful things to have in the house this time of year. Make sure people aren't coming down with stuff. Laura, you want to tell us a little bit about Nutriferum, because you started adding that then, right?
Yes, as soon as I could teach Jacob to swallow pills, he learned using the little Optiflora pearl that you talked about. He learned how to swallow pills with that about a year, when he was about 3, just over 3 years old. So I thought, well, I'll start with the Nutriferon. So that's actually his daily regimen now. He takes a Vital E and a B-complex vitamin D and Nutriferon and his probiotic, and then other things as needed. But I swear by the Nutriferon. And my husband actually is off his allergy medicine, and it was from, he took the Vitalizer and he did Nutriferon every day. And he's had one allergy pill in the last, now 3 years, almost 3 years, when he used to be on it daily.
It's a great testimony.
It's a unique product. It's made from 4 herbal extracts, but together have this ability to stimulate the body's own production of something called interferon, which is a major component of our immune system. And it was developed by the immunologist who discovered interferon back in the 50s, and he spent the rest of his career indexing and cataloging all these various kinds of plant extracts until he found this particular combination that would help the body make interferon naturally. And just some remarkable clinical studies around that. This is the time of year to pull out Nutriferon, and especially let people know who do have allergies. Hannah, talk to us a little bit about the protein products.
Well, I think that one thing you mentioned earlier is so important. Children very often don't get enough protein. They have a hard time getting them to eat breakfast, and cereals aren't really a good protein food in those cases. So meal shakes are ideal. They taste great, and they're a complete meal. And for those of us that either have to run out the door in the morning to get to work, or to get kids off to school, or want to just have a healthiest breakfast on the planet, or you want to have weight management, there's the Shaklee 180 smoothies. And for people who just want to have a great protein supplement every day, our energizing soy can't be beat. And one of the things that I feel so good about is that this company not only has non-GMO now, but they always were non-GMO before anybody even talked about it. Shaklee didn't have to change a thing. They already were that way. And I think that's another wonderful statement about this company and our products.
Excellent.
These were my saving grace with Jacob, with those protein shakes.
With the protein shakes, yeah.
Oh, because he wouldn't eat any meat.
And the nice thing is parents don't want to have a battle with every meal. And so it's nice to have a shake that and there's quite a bit of vitamins in there too. So
you're in the car and your kid's hungry, and I just pull out a peanut butter bar, chocolate bar out of my purse instead of driving through somewhere, and he's sustained for a while. I mean, those snack bars, that's 10 grams of protein for the child. That's saving grace.
Excellent. Well, now we want to tell you a little bit about the Shaklee difference. And most of us don't know a lot about the vitamin industry, and so it's helpful to when you can read a little bit about kind of the background. So, Alan, want to tell us about a recent study that was done at Consumer Reports?
This study was done testing multivitamin for 11 years. And the multivitamin they chose was Centrum Silver. And boy, did they like that. But it says here the chutzpah word. What's chutzpah? Well, another word would be nerve or gall. Because what they found, yes, they used Centrum Silver, but it didn't work. Look at these last couple sentences. They found that Centrum soda did not reduce the incidence of major cardiovascular events, heart attack, stroke, or cardiovascular disease mortality in physicians who took those vitamins for more than 10 years. That's unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, why would you taunt that your product was chosen that didn't work? Unbelievable. So that's the fact. And we say, by the way, the landmark study, that is not the Shaklee landmark study. Here we have the Shaklee landmark study that was done at the University of California, Berkeley School of Public Health. And to help you zero in, on the right-hand side where it shows the Shaklee users, and you see the average age of the Shaklee people, and it tells you in the red, in that column to the left, higher is better, lower is better, etc. Well, if you look at all those numbers, let's stop the one that says heart attack. Lower the better. The Shaklee's 2.5. Look how much better it is than those others. Congestive heart failure. Lower the better. Look at that. Shaklee is so much lower. Let's skip down to coronary heart disease, 2 or 3 down. Lower the better. Shaklee again is lower, so much better. So if you look at all those things, the Shaklee products were far superior to those people that either used no supplements or used other company supplements. Unbelievable, isn't it? Just fantastic.
And as a result of that study, Roger Barnett, our owner, went to the scientist and said, I would like you to take a look at the products that the people used in this study, the Shaklee people, and look at what nutrients they had and come up with something that would be simple, easy, and convenient that they could use every day.
And cost effective.
And that's how the Shaklee Vitalizer was born. This incredible, you see in those boxes, that's a 30-day supply of the strips you see there at the top. In those 6 tablets of capsules, you get 80 bio-optimized nutrients that are clinically proven to create a foundation for this longer, healthier life. Because when you see those statistics that Alan just showed, you can see that that is true for people who use Shaklee. They developed 4 delivery systems with 12 patents and 12 clinical studies developing this whole system. And, you know, most companies don't have anywhere near that kind of study, testing, or patents developed based on something this unique. But most importantly are the studies that prove that they work. That's the most important part of all. And what I love right now, somebody can start and come into Shaklee, and if any part of their order involves having the Vitalizer, they get their membership free. And what could be better than that? Getting discounts from then on all of these wonderful products. And I love this chart, and it's in your product guide. And make sure you look at it much more closely than you can see right here, because in one strip of the Vitalizer, 1 daily supply, you get the nutrients you see in all of those foods. But wait till you look on the in your product guide and see how much of those foods you need as well. I think that's really so impressive. And just be aware that they do 1,000 quality tests every time a Vitalizer is made. And Barb, tell us more then about these Get Clean products.
Cleaning products. Well, yes. I'm going to whip through these kind of quickly, but I really want you to know about the Get Clean cleaning product line, because there are 4 things to remember about these products. Number 1 is they're non-toxic. I didn't realize that just because a product is labeled green, that it doesn't mean that it's non-toxic. It simply means that it biodegrades eventually. It's also very effective. These products clean really well. Number 3 is they are kind to the earth. They use minimal packaging. These products are concentrated. You add the water at your end, and they are economical. People really normally think that when they use green cleaners that it's going to cost them a lot, and these we figure saves you easily $200 a year for the average family. And look at all the things that it doesn't contain. Most of us are oblivious to what is in cleaning products, except when you walk down that aisle in the grocery store and you smell all that stuff. These things have been shown to have all kinds of serious side effects. They affect the nervous system. They affect the brain. Many people get headaches. They affect the eyes. They're very irritating to epithelial tissue, which is your eyes, your skin, your hands, but even breathing into your lungs, and some have been shown to be carcinogenic. And there's look at these, just this myriad of different chemicals that are typically found in cleaning products. And I was just reading an article on one of the websites that was talking about green cleaners, and they were singling out this one even in particular because many green cleaners contain something called glycol ethers that are derived from crude oil, and they talked about overexposure to glycol ethers can cause anemia, intoxication, irritation of the eyes and the nose. And again, think about all the people who already have upper respiratory issues, like the 60 million people who have allergies and asthma and so on. But also, low levels are shown to cause birth defects and damage the sperm and testicles. And so I immediately contacted Shaklee and said, do we have any glycol ethers in any of our cleaning products? And I already knew the answer probably beforehand, but they validated and said absolutely not. Clean products are safe for your home, your family, and the planet. And so here's the basic H. I'll whip through this quick. Go ahead, Hannah. Maybe
I mean, it's just an exciting product because it literally has like 1,001 uses. We could spend an hour telling you all this, but experiment because it is absolutely incredible. You can use it on any washable surface, inside or outside the home, even as far as some personal uses as well. And I love the fact that it comes from organic corn and coconut. And, it's just... again, so typical of Shaklee, and I do believe that this product alone saves families $200 to $300 a year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Products
that one bottle is
Barb, may
yes?
I say that this was the only thing that I could use as bubble bath for Jacob when he had his eczema really bad.
Oh.
This was the only thing I could use that didn't irritate his skin. I couldn't even use Burt's Bees.
Oh my goodness.
Well, actually, we've had countless people get over eczemas, including Hannah Sheridan, when we started bathing in Basic H.
Is that
crazy.
right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Well, it is a great product, and you can purchase any of these products separately, or you can get the starter kit, which most people do, because then you have all the setup bottles for it. So it's excellent. So Hannah, tell us quickly about personal care products.
Right. Well, we have everything from a natural soap-free cleansing bar, toothpaste, deodorant, shampoo, hairspray, and the wonderful skincare system. And they are safe, natural, and effective. Look at the kind of ingredients they use when you think about the other kinds of personal care products out there. And go ahead and click, and we can talk about when I said about the skincare system. Our nutritional therapy, our Infusel skincare system, one of the things that I love about it is its ability to block all the skin-damaging free radical reactions. In fact, if you think of it this way, it actually counteracts or breaks every chain for accelerated aging because of what it can do to protect your skin from those free radicals.
Now, it's really important to remember the guys here. Keep in mind that the guys use all these kinds of products also, including shaving cream, aftershave, and moisturizers, because this Infusel product, with 8 patents as it shows here, the toners, the cleansers, or the Meadow Blend cleanser, make a great shave cream. Basic H can be used for that. I use the purifying toner as an excellent aftershave. And I'm sure a few people saw Breaking Bad that ended yesterday.
Yeah.
If you look, they had a couple close-up scenes of Walter's face. He looked really old and wrinkly. That's what you get when you don't use Infusel. But if you use Infusel,
right.
that's the way you want to look, okay. But you can have firmer skin free of wrinkles. Go for it, guys.
And, we talk about...
I probably should mention that, but I clicked too fast, as the percentages are really impressive. 665% increase in skin firmness. Oh, my gosh, that's... Okay, anyway, go ahead, Hannah. Go ahead.
Well, and when we talk about the skincare system, you see that looks like an interesting formula, doesn't it? But that stands for 3 minutes, 3 times a day, times 28 days, equals minus 10 years you lose from your aging of your skin by using this product. I think Jo Coogan came up with that formula, or at least she's the one that taught us
Actually,
that.
it's in the product guide too.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
I mean, these things, everything was clinically tested with Ampicell, and
Oh, gosh, yeah.
it's just remarkable. I mean, you go to a Shaklee meeting, and I just love to sit there and tell them the age of people because you just can't, you sure can't tell by looking at their skin.
That's for
They're just
sure. Between the
fantastic.
supplements and the skincare.
They're fantastic. So,
Yeah.
so thank you. That was kind of a quick through of an overview of many of the products. And we just wanted to tell you there are actually 3 ways that you can engage with Shaklee. Many of you have begun your Shaklee experience, as Laura Harper has, by using the products. And they are remarkable. And we wish that they bring you all the health and good stories that Laura has shared with us. But some people also, after they begin using the products and they get the kind of results, I think Laura's going to tell you her story in a couple of minutes, which kind of what happened to her, then they begin looking around them and they see people who have issues that they realize might be helped by Shaklee products, and so they begin to share with a few people, and many times just from doing that, referring folks, you can earn enough to get your products free or even earn a little extra. And then some people like Hannah and Alan, myself, we just really found as we began sharing it that we just loved being a part of it, loved being a part of the wellness movement and being a part of helping make changes in people's lives and helping them to better health and even developing their own businesses. And so many folks make a career out of Shaklee. And so we wanted to tell you just a little bit about what that looks like and the kind of benefits that are available to you. Alan?
We've already talked a lot about the health, so we're not going to talk about that now. But with the Shaklee business opportunity, you have an outstanding opportunity for substantial income, as you're going to see, time freedom. How would you like to be able to punch your time clock and set your time schedule? You can do that with your own Shaklee in-home business. We're going to talk some bit about tax benefits and retirement. So just keep in mind, all these things are possible with the Shaklee in-home business opportunity. And the major issues of today, better health, as we've talked about. So by eating and using the Shaklee products, you're definitely going to improve your health. The environment, with the #1 environmentally responsible company. You can help with air and water pollution, reducing those bad factors. And then we have the financial end, the financial security. I mean, you look at the news today, and there are prophets of doom with the finances out there. Well, having an in-home business with like Shaklee, you can have your financial future secured. And the tax advantage, as I said, we're going to talk about that in retirement. And the time freedom, being able to pay for a college education, for example, being able to do things in your time frame. These, and what says are the highest priority study, people in studies have chosen time freedom even over income as a benefit that they like with an in-home business. And that's what this is going to afford you. Now, this page I call the unsung hero of the Shaklee benefits because the tax benefits give you the opportunity that just like the large corporations can take all these different kinds of deductions, now you, with your Shaklee in-home business, can use those kinds of deductions also. And bottom line, what it means to you, in a very short time, less than 5 years, you can become financially independent. You can deduct things that you're already paying for. For example, when you travel or entertain, tie it together with your Shaklee business, incorporate your business along the way, so that at least a portion, if not all, of those kinds of expenses can become tax deductible. Your business in your home, you can use different kinds of deductions throughout your home to reduce your tax benefit, your tax payment. So come April 15th, one of 2 things happen. Either you pay in less money or you get more money back, and both of those are good for who? Good for you. That's right. So in effect, you're writing off your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. And, I'd love to tell stories in Shaklee, and we don't have time to go into a lot of them this evening. But let's just point out a couple that I want to mention to you. Rob Loomis happens to be our upline, and you can see his earnings over $500,000 a year. And he left a lucrative law practice. He's a PhD in the Greek classics, a published author. But he saw from his parents' business what this business could actually offer to other people. In fact, he has left those other careers and said he's never had so much fun in his life as he has since he's doing Shaklee. But it's a good example of this business being generational, his being able to take over this business from his parents once they were elderly. And also, let's think about a young person. Ken and Ashley DeAngelis just happen to be our children, but that's not why we bring them up. It's because of the background that they have. Ken, a teacher and coach. Ashley had been in pharmaceutical sales, and they found this a way that Ashley's goal was, by the time she was pregnant with her first child, she was able to leave that behind and do Shaklee as her full source of income from her home and be able to stay at home mom, which she is now to their 3 children. So she was able to fulfill that goal. So many young people are coming into Shaklee today for that very reason, to be able to stay at home and or to bring us that substantial second income.
Now, doesn't it give you a great feeling to know that the Shaklee Dream Plan is the most lucrative compensation plan in the industry today? And also, isn't it nice to know you set your goal? You want to make $500 a month or $500,000 a year or more? It doesn't matter. You set the goal, and then you have a whole team of people working to help you. Your upline, their upline. Everybody's working to help you become successful. And the opportunity to duplicate yourself so that you can even get paid when you're not working as you build an organization. And also, it's great when you first come in, there are ways to earn money immediately. So you don't have to wait a year or 6 months or 2 years or whatever. And then we have the infinity portion of the plan where you get paid on your whole entire organization to infinity. And then we're going to talk in a few minutes about some of the other perks and benefits like travel, expense-paid travel, the bonus car program. And in the yellow there, whenever we get a bonus check from Shaklee, Shaklee puts on there the amount of bonus earnings they've paid us since January of 2000. And so far, we've received over $2.75 million since January of 2000. But the best part of that is your name can be there, and that can be you.
Yes, and in fact, that's what I love about Shaklee. It isn't a business just for that handful at the top. It is a business where everybody can get their dreams fulfilled, whether it's income, whatever is fitting your needs and whatever you dream about. Being able to have a monthly car allowance, isn't even just about whether you can afford a car or not, but whatever time you get that kind of money for a car, that means that you have that much money you can spend on other things. To be able to travel the world through Shaklee, all major expenses paid, see the world in a way where you actually get to travel with your best friends, who I think that's a Hans Lagoni quote. And I think it's just neat to be able to tell everybody that many people even get to go on these trips in their very first year in the business. And you can qualify each and every year. So terrific benefits. And one of the things that I love about our company, when I talked about the integrity earlier, some companies publish inflated kinds of incomes in various ways. Shaklee publishes actual incomes for the various ranks. And what I also love about it is there are no ceilings. These are averages. So you can surpass any one of those incomes at every rank. In fact, I think we have, in most cases, done just that. And I only mention that to say, yes, it is real. People do that regularly. So it's all up to you, how far you want to go and how large you want to grow.
Now, the Fast Track is an awesome, awesome program that's available to all of us in Shaklee. But the Fast Track, the beginning portion, is only available to a brand new person. In that, in their first 15 months, they can achieve a bonus earnings, in addition to everything else we've talked about, just through the Fast Track of up to $34,000. And then in the next, ending in the first 2 years and 3 years, there's an additional $50,000. Now that is fabulous. But in addition to that, the second prong of the Fast Track are the matching bonuses. And this is available not just one time to a brand new person or to anybody else. It's available to everybody, brand new people and everybody that's in Shaklee on an ongoing basis. And what this means to you is that every time you bring somebody in who achieves that Fast Track bonuses up to that $34,000, you would get a matching 50% bonus, which equals $17,000. And as it says there, to no limit. You can bring in 2, 5, 10, 20, any number of people. and you get those fast-track matching bonuses. Wow, is that phenomenal?
Thanks.
Let's hear more from Laura.
It sure is. So we just asked Laura, we only have a couple of minutes left, but we just wanted Laura, if she would just to share the rest of your story. So after you had such a remarkable change in the health of your family, tell them what happened next.
Well, it was only I had results so quickly with Jacob that I decided that I was going to go ahead and become a distributor. And at the time, I thought, I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I knew that, why not? I knew that I would be talking about it. I knew I would tell people about Jacob, and then to, moving forward a little bit, I had my own results with, I lost weight with the cinch, what was then the cinch plan. My husband's allergy and acid reflux medicine went away, and so we had other stories and other things happening. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me. I couldn't think of a reason why not to do it. So I kind of just jumped in and did it when I could, and that might have been an hour a day or an hour a month. And I kept thinking in my head, there's going to come a time when it's going to be the right time for me to take off with this. And up until that point, which was just recently for me, I just kept talking about it. And I just kept sharing our stories, and the amount of people that were complaining about health, it was just like all of a sudden I heard everybody talking about it. And I know I'd probably heard them before, but I never paid attention. But so right off the bat, I was able to really help some of my friends and family, and I became a director in 2 months without really even doing much other than just talking. And it turns out that this is kind of what my passion has been for a while, and I just didn't know it. I mean, this is the first time in my life that I've really enjoyed what I do every day. So
it's very fulfilling.
And I always tell people, it doesn't matter if I make $50 in a month or $5,000 in a month, I will never, ever stop. And one of my favorite parts about this business, other than being able to help people just feel better and be healthier, and is that I buy everything. I mean, all the products that were talked about tonight, I use all of them. And I buy them all for myself. It's like I have my own store, and I'm supporting myself every time I buy body lotion or shampoo or, vitamins or whatever. I'm buying it from myself. So not only am I getting a discount on the products, but I'm also, I'm getting commission off of what I am purchasing for myself, rather than, Target or Walmart or whoever. And I just think that's genius, personally. My entire house is Shaklee, and I love that. I don't even look at any other. I mean, somebody could come up to me and say, "Oh, I just tried this brand new shampoo and I love it." It wouldn't even cross my mind to try it, because I buy it from me.
Good point, Laura.
And that's a big part of my. That's a big part of my why in the beginning. Well, why not?
And I want to mention a few months ago, Laura and I were having a conversation about why she wanted to now expand her Shaklee business, and it was just the next day she forwarded me an email that she had gotten from a woman who had fibromyalgia. Was it, Laura?
Yeah, a good friend. We didn't even talk about the fact that I've moved 5 times in 3 years. So that was one of the reasons why I was never able to really focus on my business as much as I wanted to, because I was always moving. But I was in Phoenix for 6 months, and that one friend there that I only made one friend while I was there. And it turns out she had fibromyalgia, and she just sent me, I asked her to put her testimony in writing for me, and she doesn't take her fibromyalgia medicine anymore. She uses Vitalizer and Osteomatrix and a couple other things, and is off of her medicine. And that right there is my why. I mean, I would do it for free When somebody comes to you and tells you that they're better, and they thank you for sharing it with them, it's the best feeling in the world to me.
Sure
Best
is.
feeling in the world. I always tell people if I won the lottery, the first thing I would do would be to just find people that I could give Shaklee to for free.
I love that.
You just want to, like, oh, you can just taste it for them, I know that you could get better. So yeah, that's
nice. Very nice. So, Alan?
So in summary, let's review the possibilities. The money and travel. Isn't it nice to know that you can, as Laura just pointed out, you pick your amount, whatever you want to earn, and the opportunity to travel. I mean, this year to the Mayan Riviera, to Bali. Wow. And how would you like to have a brand new car in your driveway? Imagine that. Take a big smell, that new car smell. New car, no car payments. Isn't that fabulous? And being able to do things with your family the way you want to do them. Not, I have to see if I can get off of work. I'm going to make my schedule for me and my family. And the non-toxic home, the bottom line, the freedom and the health, those are the bottom line. Because you can have all the money in the world. If you don't have your health, with Shaklee, you can have it all.
And a great way to get started, if people aren't sure how to begin, is to go on the Lean and Healthy program. If you have no weight to be concerned about, that's just a terrific health program, the smoothies and the vitalizer. And then, if you are concerned about weight, the Shaklee's 180 turnaround program, I think, is the best weight management program I've ever seen, and I love the way that people not only taking off, but keeping it off.
We'll have to start sharing some of those stories with you all. And so the purpose tonight is to give you an overview and let you know that there's many ways that you can get the most out of your Shaklee membership. So we talked about the various product lines. There's also ways now to get quantity discounts, earn additional income. A lot of that comes from referring friends, and many times when you're part of a program like this, people start coming to mind as we're sharing the stories that you think would appreciate knowing about Shaklee products. Taking the time to share those with somebody, we then give you thank you bonuses as a result of that. So we encourage you to do that. For those of you who are members, and if you're a new member, you can activate your membership by going to myshaklee.com and creating yourself a password, and you can order directly from there. We also suggest you set up an appointment with your Shaklee representative so you can learn how to place orders, but to get answers to your questions and have them show you also how to manage a program called AutoShip, because it offers about 10% discount on many of the most popular products. And then ask to have one of the complimentary nutritional and needs assessment forms so we can help you put a nutrition program together for yourself. And then the last thing I just wanted to close with is to tell you that this year at our annual conference in Nashville, Roger Barnett, our owner and CEO, reminded all of us who were there, some 5,000 people in attendance, about how the little things that we do each day, the decisions that we make, the products that we use, the time that we take to tell a friend, those little things all are part of what he called the Shaklee effect. It's all a part of those little things that we do each day that impact the health of our families and impact the health of our planet. And the same thing is true. We understand budgets today. And we understand it's very easy to see vitamins as not as a necessity, as an extra. But I hope if there's one thing that you've learned from the stories that we're hearing, that taking the time to practice prevention, to keep our immune system strong, helps to protect us from some of the really scary kinds of illnesses and decline in health that we're seeing all over our country. And so we encourage people to eat whole natural food as much as possible, mostly vegetables and live food that grows out of the earth. Take quality supplements so those things may just be the biggest contribution you can make to your health and the health of your family. So we thank you for using Shaklee products, and we thank you for joining us this evening. Any parting words, panelists? I'm going to look real quick and see if there's any questions that we
I
need
just
to
want to
answer.
tell everybody that, it's been almost 3 years now, and Jacob has seen a doctor one time for something other than a regular checkup, and that was after moving to the desert. He got chronically dry, cracked lips that turned into a blister. Other than that, he has not been to the doctor one time since the very first day he started on Shaklee vitamins.
Laura,
and like you said, Laura, that's why you do Shaklee. I think that's the bottom line for all of us.
Yep.
Even though we love all the tangible benefits, some of the intangible, like the difference you can make in other people's lives, is just the best.
And when we talk about the Shaklee, I'm sorry, go ahead, Barb.
We just got a question while you're on that topic, asking how much vitamin C you give to Jacob.
In the beginning, I did 2 of the sustained release vitamin C. I crushed every day. I did them at the same time because it was hard enough to get it in him, so I did 2 of them at the same time. So it was 1,000 milligrams a day. About a year and a half ago, when I started him on the Nutriferon, I do 1 Nutriferon a day, and I only do vitamin C when if I feel like he needs it, which really doesn't happen because he just doesn't get sick. And that's really just convenient for me because the Nutriferon it doesn't have any flavor if I crush it, and it also he'll swallow it. The vitamin C he isn't as easy to swallow.
Well, vitamin C, though, if you snap it in half, you can even snap it in thirds, and that's what I did with my granddaughter to teach her to swallow. And thank you, Bob, for your thank you for your comments, and thank you for your for joining us, and thank you for the nice things you've been saying on the questions. Alan, you want to have a closing thought?
Well, when we talk about the Shaklee business opportunity, we believe that this opportunity is truly the finest opportunity in America today, bar none. We know it because we've been living it. The best part is you can too, and we'll help you do it. When I say we, your upline, their upline, the whole team of people that you're affiliated with will help you to become successful. Go for it.
Thanks. Nice, Lois. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Laura, for joining us this evening. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Barb.
We'll be here again next week, and we'll be actually doing an overview of the business opportunity. It'll be one of our 30-minute calls. So if you have people who'd like to know more about that, we'll be sharing that next week. And then following week, we're going to be talking about menopause and menopause without medicine. So we'll be sharing some ideas around that. Thanks, everyone, and see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laura.
Good night.
Bye-bye.